everyone, and welcome to another book club episode. If you listen to the previous episode, I'm joined again by my guest, Nestle, who is at What Nestle Read on Book Talk. Now, Nestle, I think we kind of already established this, but what is your relationship to reading and do you like to read?
What is my relationship? We are the beginning stages of a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, is how I would
Mm-hmm.
call my
Okay.
relationship with reading. We are in the honeymoon stage. I committed to 100 and I said I was reading 12 books last year. I did read 153. A casual hobby hates to see me coming because that doesn't exist.
Okay.
So I have been really enjoying my reading journey, and now this goal this year we want to read less,
Okay.
quality over quantity.
Yes.
Mhm.
You said in the last episode you hit what 153 last year, which
Yes.
is crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy. So
Crazy.
what was your first like introduction book to reading last year or in 2023 when you said you really started reading and
My
why?
first, oh my gosh, okay. So I started reading because I was like, I want to be a reader. I needed to create a hobby for myself. I needed to create structure. So I wrote on my little close friends. I said, who wants to start a book club with me? And because at that point I said, okay, if I start a book club, then I will definitely reach the 12 books by the end of the year. Perfect. I picked up I picked the first book because that just makes sense. So I did pick up, and I feel like it's so full circle. I picked up The Guest by Emma Cline.
I've never read it, but I've heard such good things.
It is a fabulous time. And being someone who never read a single book, I was just like, oh, where do I get a book rec from? So I went on good old BookTube. I did get this book rec from Jack Edwards because this is around the time where people were doing their reading wraps because it was January. Jack
Okay.
Edwards had it in his five-star reads, his best reads of the year. I love an unhinged woman. That's one of my favorite tropes. I support women's rights and their wrongs. So that's why I
Obviously.
picked The
Hmm.
Guest.
Yes. And how did that go? Did you have like your friends pick the next book or did you kind of run that entire books club?
So I had people volunteer. Sometimes it did get to a point where we had to volunteer a couple people to pick their own book because a lot of people get nervous about picking a book because you want to pick a book that you haven't read, but people don't want their book to be disliked, which was funny because people
Yes.
hated The Guest and I was a fan. I was a
Interesting.
fan. So that's how that ended up working. People would just kind of pick their books, and it did challenge me to read genres that I did not read before or have any interest
Okay.
in. It did cement me not having interest in some of the genres, but that was okay.
Okay. So what are the genres that you are currently reading or have read, and what are genres that you haven't really touched?
I am a contemporary fiction, literary
Okay.
fiction girl to my core. I do like romance. I kind of need my romance to be a little bit rooted in reality, like maybe like a literary book that has a through line of love. I call them love stories, but not romance books.
Mhm. Yes.
I have a couple examples of that. And then what I don't really dabble in is fantasy. Lions and tigers and bears is not really my vibe.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I know we both really love Carly Fortune's Every Summer After.
I love it. My friend still has my copy of that book. Thank you for reminding me. I do need to get it.
It was one of my favorites. I'm also not a big romance reader. I like romance in a story, but like the plot and like the rest of the story has to,
It has to be something else.
yeah, it has to meet the same level as the romance. So,
Right.
yeah. So I get it. Yeah. 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 Do you lend your books out to people often? That's something I refuse to do now.
So I thought I could be a chill girl that was like, oh my God, borrow my book. Absolutely not. I want my books back. I would sooner buy someone a copy of a book that is sitting on my shelf untouched before giving someone my book. I'm not that girl. No.
Yeah. And it's like, where are my children? I don't know where they are. They haven't
Where
come home yet.
exactly. And then my other thing is and I had made a TikTok and I was just having a fun time. And my friends really they did drop that in the group chat and they said, Nestle? I said, oh, I mean, are you guys guilty? Are you guys guilty? I'm so sorry. But one of my things which is why I knew that I couldn't lend books out, is if I lend you a book, my thought is, oh, this is the next book that you're reading. And you're just putting it on your TBR shelf. No, come to me when you're ready to read the book because then I want it in like a week and a half, I can get the book back from you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hmm.
Literally, actually, one other friend has a book of mine, and she has yet to give it back and has asked me now multiple times, like, is it okay if I keep it? Like, I'm gonna read this first and then this, and I'm okay with it for now. There will come a point where it is now going to be a year. And if you have not read it, I
You're better than
res-
me.
I respect other people don't read as fast as I do or as much as I do. I get it.
But
However,
just tell me when you're in the mood for it because I totally get being a mood reader and you're like, I'm going to get to this eventually. Let me know when you're halfway done with your current book and you're like,
yes.
I want the guest to be my next read. I will get you that book.
Yeah. I'm like a library. I guess I should really approach it like that, where you have 3 weeks,
Absolutely.
month, maybe 90 days, and then if we haven't finished it,
Give it back.
yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to buy my own copy, and I don't want to do that. You know?
Right. Especially
Yeah.
with prices of books nowadays. No, not doing
No.
it.
No. So when do you feel? Let me phrase this question by sharing my own opinion. Actually, I
Perfect.
feel like when everyone on Book Talk, when a book becomes like extremely popular and everybody loves it and everybody gives it 5 stars, I think, although obviously that's how I get a lot of recommendation is through social media, I think it warps my thought before I start reading it. And I am afraid that that's where I'm either going to really like it or really hate it. And I don't know if it really gets a real opinion for me. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I also am weary of those book recommendations. This also recently happened to me. I read, what is the name of that book? It's by V.E. Schwab. It's the book that everybody loves. Um, The
The
Invisible Life of
Invisible
Addie
Life of Love.
LaRue. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. People sing its praises every single day.
Mhm.
And I find it to be just an average book at best. I gave it 3 stars, which a 3 star is it's a book.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. And
Yeah.
depending, a 3 star and above will get a recommendation out of me. It just
Yes.
three, it's really dependent on who. Like it's a curated recommendation.
Mhm.
4, I'd recommend it to pretty much anybody. A 5 star, but also like a 5 star book, I think it's the best book ever, and I would recommend it to everyone. But at the same time, I'm like, I know my niche taste. It doesn't work for everyone.
Yes, we are the same. Yes.
Yeah,
What are
I agree.
some of the tropes, themes, things that you like to see in any genre in books?
I love a unhinged woman. That's probably my favorite across genre.
Mhm.
Um, because I just feel like they deserve to have their moments to act crazy.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, it is justified. So I do believe that I support their rights and wrongs. I've always said this and I stand by it.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's probably, I feel I'm not that much of a trope person,
Okay.
except in romance. Romance, I'm pretty particular about my tropes, and
Oh, okay.
I don't like a lot of things, actually. I don't like a lot of things. So off the top of my head, I don't like fake dating. That doesn't make sense to me. What are you talking about? Why are you fake dating? Like that just it goes back to me wanting my romances to be rooted in reality. And
Uh-huh.
I think of it as what could I or my friends be telling each other across a brunch table? I want to hear a story that feels like it could actually be told. You're
Mhm.
telling me if we go, this is my least favorite scenario. You're telling me in Happy Place by Emily Henry that you are at a on a trip with your best friends and you are fake dating your man and you're like, we have to keep up the show, keep up with the facade. That makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Okay.
Now, do you think the book is always better than the movie?
I would s- I would default to yes. Let me
Okay.
tell you an instance where I don't think that's the case. I do believe that Gone Girl is better as a movie. I
Ah.
specifically, and maybe it's just the casting. I think Rosamund Pike is just phenomenal. Specifically rereading. I read Gone Girl this year or this past year, and the cool girl monologue, while phenomenal in the book, the delivery and the emotion that you see on screen just made it a little bit better. But
Yeah.
I would default to 9 times out of 10 that the book is better than the movie just because they have more room. They
Yeah.
cut things out.
And so my last 3 questions for you are, what book is next on your TBR list to read? What was the last really good book you read? And what are you currently reading?
Now I got it.
Yeah,
Book
yeah.
that is next on my TBR list is Isaac's Song by
Okay.
Danielle Black. This just came in my book of the month. I'm reading the audio. Thank you, NetGalley, for love that. Um, so that will be that. The book that I am currently reading is a poetry collection. It's called Black Girl Call
Oh,
Home. I
okay.
am committed to reading some more poetry this year. This is girlhood in a book, Black
Okay.
girlhood in a book, which I love. And then the last really good book that I read was my first read of the year. It was a 5-star book. I will sing its praises every single day. Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adejei-Brenya. This is the author that wrote Chain Gang All Stars. It's a series
Okay.
of short story collections um, about being Black in America, capitalism, racism, all of the things. There are
Mhm.
2 specific stories in here that I think I will think about for forever.
And thank you so
One,
much for giving me any ounce of your time. I really
of
appreciate
course.
this.
Thank you for having me.
And